The massive alien ship appeared above Earth without warning. It was so large that it blocked the sun over half of Asia. People on the ground stopped what they were doing and stared up at the sky in fear and wonder. The ship was dark metal with strange lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ambassador Choi Mi-young stood in the United Nations building in New York, watching the news feeds from around the world. She had been Earth's representative to the Galactic Council for 3 years now. She knew this day would come, but she had hoped they would have more time to prepare. Her phone rang. It was Admiral Kim Tae-woo from the Defense Command Center. "Mi-young, they want to talk," he said. His voice was calm, but she could hear the worry underneath. "The Galactic Council is demanding a meeting in 1 hour." Choi looked out the window. More ships were appearing in the sky above other major cities. London, Tokyo, Moscow, São Paulo. Each ship was the same, massive, dark, and threatening. She counted 12 ships in total, one for each member of the Galactic Council. An hour later, Choi sat in the special communication room deep underground. The room was designed for talking to aliens. The walls were covered with translation equipment and recording devices. Admiral Kim sat beside her, along with Dr. Park So-min from the Quantum Defense Initiative and Captain Lee Dae-ho from Earth's Space Fleet. The screen in front of them flickered to life. 12 alien faces appeared, each one different. The leader was a tall creature with gray skin and 4 arms. This was High Commander Zethrak of the Veltari Empire. His species ruled over most of the other aliens in the Council. "Humans of Earth." Zethrak spoke in perfect English, though his voice sounded like grinding metal. "I am High Commander Zethrak. I speak for the Galactic Council. We have come to discuss your future." Choi leaned forward. "We welcome this discussion. Earth has always wanted peaceful contact with other worlds." Several of the aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. Zethrak's 4 arms moved in what looked like a dismissive gesture. "Peaceful?" Zethrak said. "You have built weapons. You have ships that can travel between stars. You have begun to spread beyond your world. This is not the behavior of a peaceful species." Captain Lee shifted in his seat. His hand moved slightly toward his sidearm before he caught himself. Dr. Park touched his arm gently, reminding him to stay calm. "We built those things to protect ourselves," Choi said carefully. "When we learned there were other species in the galaxy, we thought it was wise to be prepared." "Prepared for what?" Another alien spoke. This one looked like a giant insect with glowing eyes. "The galaxy has been at peace for 300 years. The Council maintains order. There is no need for weapons among civilized species." Admiral Kim spoke for the first time. "With respect, we are new to galactic society. We did not know about this peace. From our perspective, meeting unknown alien species seemed dangerous." "Dangerous?" Zethrak's voice rose. "Do you consider the Council dangerous? Do you threaten us?" The room fell silent. Choi could feel the tension rising. This was not going well. "We threaten no one," she said quickly. "Earth wants only to find its place among the stars. We want to learn and grow alongside other species." "Then you will surrender," Zethrak said. His 4 arms folded across his chest. "The Council has decided. Humanity is too young and too violent to be trusted with advanced technology. You will give up all weapons. You will give up all spaceships. You will allow the Council to govern Earth for the next 1,000 years. In this time we will teach you to be civilized." Dr. Park's eyes widened. 1,000 years? That's longer than recorded human history. "Yes," said the insect-like alien. "It will take that long to change your violent nature. Humans are known for fighting each other. You have wars constantly. This shows you are not ready for the responsibility of space travel." Captain Lee stood up suddenly. "We stopped fighting each other when we learned about the galaxy. We united as one planet for the first time in human history." "Only because you feared us," Zethrak said coldly. "Fear is not the same as civilization. When the fear goes away, you will fight again. The Council has studied hundreds of species. We know the patterns." Choi tried to keep her voice steady. "What if we refuse?" All 12 aliens were quiet for a moment. Then Zethrak spoke and his words chilled the room. "Then you will be removed from the galaxy, permanently." Admiral Kim leaned forward. "Are you threatening to destroy Earth?" "I am stating a fact," Zethrak replied. "Dangerous species cannot be allowed to spread. If you will not accept guidance, you will be eliminated. This is the law of the galaxy. It has been used 17 times in the past. Each time the galaxy became safer." Dr. Park's voice was barely a whisper. "You've destroyed 17 entire species?" 17 violent, uncivilized species, yes. They chose destruction over peace. We hope humans are wiser. The screen showed images suddenly. 17 different worlds, all burned and lifeless. Cities turned to glass. Oceans boiled away. Forests turned to ash. The message was clear. You have 30 standard galactic days to decide, Zethrak continued. Surrender your weapons and accept our rule or be destroyed. There is no third option. The communication ended. The screen went black. The 4 humans sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Admiral Kim spoke. How many ships do they have? Captain Lee checked his tablet. Our deep space sensors show at least 2,000 ships in the outer system. Maybe more. Each one is bigger than our largest warship. And how many ships do we have? Dr. Park asked. 43 combat vessels, Lee replied. Most of them are still being tested. The Tiguk is our only fully operational interstellar warship. Admiral Kim stood up and walked to the wall map showing Earth's defenses. Red dots marked the positions of human military bases and weapon systems. It looked very small compared to what they were facing. What do we tell the people? Choi asked. Kim turned around. His face was grim but determined. We tell them the truth. Aliens have given us a choice, surrender or fight. Then we let them decide what kind of species humanity wants to be. 3 hours later, every television, radio, and internet connection on Earth carried the same message. Admiral Kim stood at a podium with the flags of all Earth's nations behind him. Citizens of Earth, he began. Today we received an ultimatum from the Galactic Council. They demand our complete surrender. They want us to give up our freedom for the promise of safety. He paused, looking directly into the camera. Our response is simple. We respectfully decline their generous offer. Around the world, people watched in silence. Some were afraid. Some were angry. But most felt something they had not felt in years, unity. For the first time in human history, every person on Earth faced the same enemy. The war for humanity's freedom was about to begin. High Commander Zethrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion. Through the massive viewing window, he could see Earth spinning slowly in the distance. The small blue planet looked so peaceful from here. It was hard to believe such a primitive world had dared to refuse the Council's generous offer. Status report, Zethrak commanded. His second in command, a 3-eyed creature named Vex, checked his instruments. 200 ships are in position around the human world. All weapons are charged. The police action can begin at your command. Zethrak's forearms moved in satisfaction. 200 ships was more than enough to handle one primitive planet. The Council had agreed that a small force would be sufficient. Humans had only been in space for 50 years. Their technology was crude. Their weapons were simple. This would be over quickly. Have the humans responded to our final warning? Zethrak asked. No, Commander. Their Admiral Kim repeated the same message. They decline our offer. Zethrak made a sound like grinding stones. Humans were even more foolish than he had thought. Very well. Begin the police action. Target their military bases first. Show them what happens when primitives challenge their betters. Deep inside Earth's Defense Command Center, alarms were ringing. Admiral Kim stood in front of a wall of screens showing the positions of alien ships. Each red dot represented a vessel larger than anything humanity had ever built. They're moving, reported Colonel Han Jiwoo from the Stealth Operations Division. 200 ships breaking orbit. Heading for Earth. Dr. Park Soman looked up from her control station. The Aegis Defense Network is online. All orbital platforms are ready. Captain Lee Daeho's voice crackled over the communication system from his ship, the Taeguk. Human fleet is in position behind the moon. All fighters are launched and standing by. Admiral Kim took a deep breath. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. All units, this is command. Operation Hammer is now active. Show them what humans can do. The alien fleet approached Earth in perfect formation. Each ship was in its assigned position. Their weapons were ready. Their shields were at maximum power. They had done this many times before. Primitive species always fought the same way. Crude ships attacking in straight lines. Simple weapons that barely scratched military-grade armor. Incoming transmission from the human fleet, Vex reported. Put it through, Zethrak ordered. He wanted to hear the humans beg for mercy. Captain Lee's face appeared on the screen. He was young for a human, probably only 30 years old. He wore a simple military uniform and looked calm despite facing overwhelming odds. This is Captain Lee Daeho of the Earth Defense Force, he said. You are approaching our world with hostile intent. Turn back now and no harm will come to you. Several aliens on Zethrak's bridge made laughing sounds. The human was threatening them. With what? Their tiny fleet of primitive ships? "Captain Lee," Zethrak replied. "I am High Commander Zethrak. You are facing 200 warships from the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Your entire fleet has 43 ships. Do you really think you can stop us?" Lee's expression did not change. "Numbers are not everything, Commander. Sometimes the smaller force wins." "How?" Zethrak asked, genuinely curious. "Please explain your strategy. I am interested in human thinking before I destroy you." "It's simple," Lee said with a slight smile. "You think you know how humans fight. You're wrong." The transmission ended. Zethrak turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy them." The alien fleet opened fire. Hundreds of energy beams lanced through space toward the human ships. The beams were powerful enough to crack moons. No shields could stop them. No armor could turn them away. The energy beams passed harmlessly through empty space. "What?" Zethrak stared at his tactical display. The human ships had simply vanished. All 43 of them. Gone. "Sir," his sensor officer called out in confusion. "I'm reading quantum distortions throughout the combat zone. The human ships, they're not where they should be. Where are they?" "I don't know." "They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time." Suddenly, explosion after explosion rocked the alien fleet. Human fighters appeared inside their formations, seeming to materialize from nothing. The small ships moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. They turned and twisted at impossible angles. They accelerated in ways that should have killed their pilots. "Impossible," Vex shouted. "No organic creature can survive those forces." But the humans were not only surviving, they were fighting with deadly precision. Each fighter carried weapons that bypassed alien shields completely, while the aliens had energy barriers to stop energy weapons. Humans were using simple metal projectiles fired at incredible speeds. The kinetic slugs punched through alien armor like paper. Engineer Yoon Hyo-jin watched the battle from the orbital defense platform she had designed. Her impossible shield technology was working perfectly. Human ships could phase in and out of normal space using quantum tunneling drives. They could appear anywhere, attack and disappear before the aliens could respond. "Phase jump successful," reported pilot Kang Minho from his fighter. "Target destroyed. Moving to next position." Kang's X-7 Phantom fighter twisted through space in a maneuver that would have liquefied any alien pilot. Humans, with their strange biology and insane determination, could handle forces that would kill other species. What looked impossible to aliens was merely difficult for humans. The alien formation began to break apart. Ships turned to flee, but human fighters appeared in front of them. The aliens tried to regroup, but more human ships materialized behind them. They attempted to form defensive circles, but humans attacked from above and below simultaneously. "How are they doing this?" Zethrak demanded. His science officer was studying the sensor readings with growing fear. "Sir, I think humans don't fight like other species. Every civilization we know uses predictable tactics. Honor codes, formation fighting, rules of engagement. Humans are using chaos. Explain. They have no formation, no pattern. Each ship acts independently but somehow coordinates with all the others. They appear to be making up new tactics in the middle of battle. Our computers cannot predict their movements because they're not following any known military doctrine." On Earth, Colonel Han Ji-woo was coordinating the seemingly chaotic battle with quiet efficiency. Humans did not fight like other species because humans had learned warfare in a different school. On Earth, they had fought each other for thousands of years. They had learned that survival meant adapting constantly, changing tactics and never doing what the enemy expected. "Ghost Squadron, target the command ship," Han ordered. "Dragon Squadron, protect our flanks. Phoenix Squadron, hit them from above." The human pilots responded instantly. They had trained for this kind of fluid, adaptive combat their entire careers. While aliens learned to fight in formations and follow orders precisely, humans learned to think for themselves and improvise under pressure. Zethrak watched in horror as his mighty fleet was being destroyed by a force 1/5 its size. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were being outmaneuvered and outfought by primitive human vessels. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving surrender requests from our own ships." "What?" "Captain Vorth of the Intimidator requests permission to retreat. He says half his crew is dead and his ship is crippled. That's impossible. The Intimidator is one of our most powerful vessels." But even as he spoke, Zethrak could see the great ship limping away from the battle. its hull torn open by human weapons, atmosphere streaming from dozens of breaches. "Commander," Vex said quietly, "we should consider retreat." "Retreat? From primitives?" Another explosion shook the Dominion. Human fighters had somehow appeared directly above the bridge, their weapons carved through the flagship's armor like a knife through fabric. "Sir, we've lost 70% of our fleet," the tactical officer reported. "The humans are not taking prisoners. Every ship that cannot escape is being destroyed." Zethrak looked at his displays. Red dots representing his ships were winking out one by one. In less than 4 hours, his fleet of 200 vessels had been reduced to scattered survivors fleeing in panic. "How did they do this?" he whispered. His science officer was still studying the data. "Sir, I don't think humans are what we thought they were. Their technology is too advanced. Their tactics are too sophisticated. Their pilots are too skilled. Either they've been hiding their true capabilities or what? Or we were wrong about everything." The battle was over. Of the 200 ships in the Galactic Council's police action, only 12 managed to escape back to Council space. The others were destroyed or disabled, their crews killed or captured. On Earth, people watched the news in amazement. Their small fleet had defeated a force many times larger. Captain Lee's face appeared on screens around the world as he announced the victory. "Citizens of Earth," he said from the bridge of the Teguk, "the enemy fleet has been destroyed. Earth remains free." The celebration began immediately. In every city, people poured into the streets. Fireworks lit up the sky. Humanity had faced its first galactic war and won, but Admiral Kim was not celebrating. He stood in the command center looking at the data from the battle. Dr. Park stood beside him, equally serious. "This was just the beginning," Kim said quietly. "When the Council learns what happened here." The Galactic Council chamber had never been so silent. 12 species, rulers of thousands of worlds, sat in stunned shock as they listened to the reports from the survivors of the Earth police action. High Commander Zethrak stood in the center of the Great Hall. His forearms hung at his sides in defeat. Around him, the other council members whispered among themselves in dozens of different languages. The words were different, but the meaning was the same. "Impossible." "You are telling us," said Councillor Vrex of the Hegemony, his insect-like voice clicking with disbelief, "that 200 Council warships were defeated by 43 human vessels?" "Yes, Councillor." "And that only 12 ships escaped?" "Yes, Councillor." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some council members shouted accusations. Others demanded explanations. A few sat in silence, trying to process what they had heard. Councillor Threx, the massive creature who spoke for the collective, raised one of his tentacles for silence. "How is this possible? Humans have been in space for only 50 years. Their technology is primitive. Their tactics are crude." Sithrex's voice was hollow. "I thought so too. I was wrong." "Wrong how?" "Everything about them is wrong. They fight without honor. They have no formations. They use weapons that shouldn't work. Their pilots survive forces that would kill any civilized being." Zethrak paused. "And their technology is not primitive." "I think it never was." "What do you mean?" "I mean we may have made a terrible mistake about humanity." The council chamber fell silent again. Finally, the eldest member spoke. Councillor Erix had lived for 800 years and had seen the rise and fall of dozens of species. His ancient voice carried weight that all the others respected. "If humans are truly dangerous," Erix said slowly, "then we have only one option. Full military response. Every ship. Every weapon. End this threat before it can spread." Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Zethrak felt a chill run through his body. "Honorable Erix, perhaps we should reconsider. Maybe we can negotiate." "Negotiate?" Erix's voice turned sharp.
Did you offer them negotiation when you destroyed 17 other species?
"No. Dangerous species cannot be reasoned with. They must be eliminated." The vote was unanimous. Within hours, orders went out to every council world. Gather the Grand Fleet, every available warship, every weapon system, every soldier. The largest military force in galactic history would be assembled to destroy one small blue planet. On Earth, deep space monitoring stations detected the massive buildup 3 weeks before the alien armada would arrive. Intelligence officer Nam Yu-jin studied the sensor readings in her darkened office, counting ship signatures as they gathered at the edge of council space. 5,000 ships confirmed, she reported to Admiral Kim. "Maybe more." Every major species is contributing vessels. This is their entire military. Admiral Kim looked at the tactical displays showing Earth's defenses. The numbers were overwhelming. How many ships do we have now? 87 combat vessels operational. The new Phoenix-class destroyers are coming online faster than expected, but we're still outnumbered 60-1. General Lim Jae-sung entered the briefing room carrying a thick folder. As master strategist of the Korean Peninsula Defense Corps, he had been working day and night on Earth's defense plans. "I have good news and bad news," Lim said, spreading maps and charts across the table. "The bad news is that they have enough firepower to turn Earth into an asteroid field." "What's the good news?" Kim asked. "The good news is that they're going to try to fight us the same way they always have. Predictable formations, standard tactics, conventional weapons." Lim smiled grimly. "They still don't understand what they're dealing with." Dr. Bae Yun-ji arrived with her latest test results. As creator of the Aegis Planetary Defense Network, she had been pushing the boundaries of human technology even further. "The quantum entanglement weapons are ready," she announced. "We can now strike targets instantly across any distance. Their shields won't help them because the weapons appear inside their ships." Commander Oh Dong-wook joined the meeting by video link from his stealth destroyer Dokdo. His ship was currently hiding in the asteroid belt, gathering intelligence on the alien fleet. "I can confirm their battle plan," he reported. "Classic hammer and anvil formation. They're going to surround Earth and hit us from all sides simultaneously. They think overwhelming force will crush our defenses." Admiral Kim studied the alien formation on his tactical display. It was exactly what human strategists had expected. Aliens fought the way they had always fought, with honor, predictability, and massive force. They could not imagine an enemy that would fight differently. "Show them the Phoenix Squadron," Kim ordered. The wall screen displayed images of Earth's newest warships. The Phoenix-class destroyers looked nothing like traditional spacecraft. They were sleek, angular vessels that seemed to bend light around them. These were the ghost ships that existed partially outside normal spacetime. "How many?" Kim asked. 47 completed, Dr. Bae replied. "Each one carries quantum tunneling drives and dimensional shift capability. They can appear anywhere in the battle zone instantly." "And the Aegis network?" "Fully operational. We can project shield barriers anywhere in the solar system. More importantly, we can create pocket dimensions where our ships can hide until needed." Kim looked at his senior staff. "Are we ready?" General Lim nodded. "Operation Thunderbolt is prepared. Every detail has been planned and practiced. When they arrive, they'll be walking into the largest military ambush in galactic history." 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council's Grand Fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system. 5,000 ships of every size and type, carrying enough firepower to destroy 100 worlds. The fleet was commanded by War Marshal Kethix, the Council's greatest military leader. Kethix stood on the bridge of his super dreadnought Inevitable. The massive ship was larger than some space stations, bristling with weapons and carrying 50,000 troops. Around him, the Grand Fleet stretched across space in perfect formation. "Status report," Kethix commanded. "All ships in position, War Marshal. We have complete tactical superiority. The human fleet appears to be hiding behind their moon." "How many ships?" "Sensors show approximately 90 vessels, all smaller than our cruisers." Kethix studied the tactical display. The human ships looked pathetic compared to his massive fleet. "This would be over quickly. Signal the fleet. Begin total assault. I want Earth reduced to rubble within 6 hours." The Grand Fleet moved forward in perfect synchronization. 5,000 ships approaching Earth in battle formation, their weapons charging, their shields at maximum power. It was the most beautiful and terrible sight in galactic history. But as they crossed the orbit of Pluto, something impossible happened. Space itself seemed to explode around them. Not with fire or energy, but with ships. Hundreds of human vessels appeared from nowhere. Above, below, beside, and even inside the alien formations. The Phoenix Squadron had been waiting in dimensional pockets throughout the solar system. "Contact," shouted Kethix's sensor officer. "Multiple ships appearing throughout the fleet. They're everywhere." But that was only the beginning. As the aliens scrambled to respond to the sudden attack, more human ships began appearing. These were not the small fighters from the first battle. These were full-sized warships, equipped with weapons that defied galactic science. Commander O's stealth destroyer Dokdo materialized directly above the alien flagship. Its quantum entanglement weapons fired instantly, appearing inside the Inevitable's bridge without passing through shields or armor. The massive ship's command center exploded from within. Impossible! Kethek screamed as his bridge filled with smoke and sparks. How are they doing this? Dr. Bay's Aegis defense network activated throughout the solar system. Massive shield barriers appeared in space itself, cutting the alien fleet into isolated groups. Ships that had been in formation suddenly found themselves separated by walls of pure energy. The Grand Fleet, designed to fight as one massive force, was now broken into dozens of smaller groups. Each group faced human ships that appeared and disappeared at will, striking with weapons that bypassed all known defenses. "War Marshal," his communications officer called out. "We're losing contact with the outer formations." "What do you mean, losing contact?" "I mean they're gone, sir. Destroyed. The humans are picking apart our fleet piece by piece." Kethek stared at his tactical display in growing horror. Red dots representing his ships were vanishing by the hundreds. The mighty Grand Fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that fought like no species he had ever encountered. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. "Over 1,000 in the first hour, sir. The rate is increasing. And human losses? Unknown. Our sensors cannot track their ships. They appear and disappear too quickly." In the depths of space, Captain Lee's Teguk was leading a squadron of Phoenix-class destroyers in hit-and-run attacks on alien heavy cruisers. His ship would appear beside an enemy vessel, fire its quantum weapons, then vanish before the aliens could respond. "Target destroyed," Lee reported, moving to next position. The Teguk shifted into a dimensional pocket, traveled instantaneously across the battlefield, and emerged next to another alien ship. The engagement lasted 3 seconds. The alien ship exploded. The Teguk disappeared again. The alien prisoner sat in the holding cell deep beneath Earth's Defense Command Center. Its name was Zentar, and it had been the science officer aboard the destroyed Council flagship Inevitable. Unlike most of the alien survivors, who refused to speak to their human captors, Zentar seemed eager to talk. Dr. Ryu Insu, humanity's leading expert on quantum physics, sat across from the creature in the sterile white room. Between them was a translation device that converted alien speech into human languages. "I need to understand," Zentar said, its multiple eyes focused on the human scientist. "How did your species develop quantum entanglement weapons in only 50 years? It took my people 3,000 years to discover basic quantum mechanics." Dr. Ryu studied the alien carefully. "What makes you think we developed them recently?" "Because humans only achieved spaceflight 50 years ago. Everyone knows this. Your species was primitive until very recently. Were we?" Zentar's eyes blinked in confusion. "You're saying you weren't? But the Council has records. Earth was monitored for centuries. You were trapped on one planet fighting each other with crude weapons." Dr. Ryu stood up and walked to the wall screen. He pressed a button and images appeared. Ancient cave paintings, Egyptian pyramids, Greek temples, medieval castles. "Tell me, Zentar, what do you see in these images?" "Primitive structures built by an early civilization." "Look closer." More images appeared. Hidden symbols in the cave paintings. Strange mathematical equations carved into pyramid stones. Star maps in Greek temples that showed knowledge of distant galaxies. Zentar stared at the images. His eyes widened as he began to understand what he was seeing. These are advanced calculations, quantum mathematics, stellar navigation charts." He looked up at Dr. Ryu in shock. "How old are these?" "The newest is over 1,000 years old. The oldest is 50,000 years old. That's impossible. Your species couldn't have known these things." Dr. Ryu smiled sadly. "We didn't know them. We remembered them." Across the ocean, Professor Shinbora sat in her office at Seoul National University. As humanity's leading historian, she had spent decades studying the hidden records that most humans didn't know existed. Ancient texts that spoke of a time when humanity ruled the stars. Old stories that weren't stories at all, but memories. Her computer chimed with an incoming message from Admiral Kim. He needed her expertise for something called Operation Memory. She gathered her files and headed for the spaceport on the bridge of the Taeguk. Captain Lee was studying reports from human boarding parties that had captured several alien ships during the recent battle. The reports were disturbing. Marine Colonel Ko Seon-ho had led the boarding action against the alien cruiser Domination. His team had moved through the enemy ship with an efficiency that shocked everyone. including themselves. It was strange, Ko reported via video link. When we entered their ship, I knew exactly where everything was. The bridge, the engine room, the weapon systems. It was like I'd been there before. How is that possible? Lee asked. I don't know. But it wasn't just me. Every Marine in my unit had the same experience. We understood their technology instantly. We could operate their computers, their weapons, even their navigation systems. Similar reports were coming in from other boarding parties. Human soldiers were adapting to alien technology as if they had designed it themselves. In his laboratory, Dr. Ryu was conducting experiments that would have been impossible for any other species in the galaxy. He was directly manipulating quantum fields with his bare hands, bending the laws of physics through pure mental concentration. The quantum field responds to human thought patterns, he explained to his research team. Not just human technology, human minds themselves. We have a direct connection to the fundamental forces of the universe. His assistant, Dr. Kim Ye-jin, watched in amazement as Dr. Ryu created a small sphere of pure energy floating above his palm. How are you doing that? I'm not sure, but I think this is what humans used to be able to do. Back in the interrogation room, Zentar was having a mental breakdown. The evidence Dr. Ryu had shown him was undeniable. Humans were not a primitive species that had recently achieved spaceflight. They were something much older and much more terrifying. How long? Zentar whispered. How long have you been out here? Dr. Ryu consulted his notes. According to our oldest records, humans first left Earth approximately 200,000 years ago. We've been traveling between stars for longer than most galactic civilizations have existed. Then why? Why did you pretend to be primitive? Why did you hide? We weren't hiding. We were sleeping. Professor Shin arrived at the command center carrying boxes of ancient documents. She was escorted to a secure briefing room where Admiral Kim, General Lim, and Dr. Park were waiting. Tell them what you told me, Kim said. Shin opened her files and spread ancient maps across the table. They showed not Earth, but the galaxy itself. Star charts that marked human colonies on thousands of worlds. Trade routes that connected human settlements across vast distances. Military bases that controlled entire star systems. This is humanity's true history, she said. 200,000 years ago, we were the dominant species in this galaxy. We had technology that makes our current achievements look primitive. We could manipulate matter at the atomic level. We could travel instantly between stars. We could reshape entire planets. And what happened to us? Dr. Park asked. War, not with aliens, with ourselves. Humanity split into factions. Some wanted to keep expanding, conquering new worlds. Others wanted to explore beyond this galaxy. A third group wanted to return to a simpler life. And the war lasted 10,000 years. It tore the galaxy apart. Entire star systems were destroyed. Billions died. In the end, the survivors made a choice. They decided that humanity was too dangerous for the universe. General Lim leaned forward. So they gave up their technology? More than that, they gave up their memories. They used advanced genetic manipulation to lock away humanity's knowledge and abilities. Only in times of extreme danger would the locks be released. The alien invasion, Kim realized. Yes, when the Galactic Council threatened Earth, it triggered the awakening. All the genetic locks began to open. Human minds started remembering things they had never learned. Human bodies began recovering abilities they had never trained for. This explained everything. Why human pilots could survive impossible maneuvers. Why human engineers could understand alien technology instantly. Why human weapons could do things that violated known physics. Humanity wasn't learning. They were remembering. Cyber warfare specialist John Woo Jin was discovering this firsthand as he worked to crack alien computer systems captured from the destroyed fleet. His fingers moved across holographic keyboards with impossible speed, writing code in programming languages he had never studied. I can see their entire network, he reported to his supervisors. Every council world, every military base, every government system. And I can access all of it. How? Because humans designed the original quantum computing systems that all galactic civilizations use. We created the foundational mathematics that their technology is based on. To us, their security is like a lock we built ourselves. Within hours, John had infiltrated the Council's most secure databases. What he found there confirmed Professor Shin's research. The galactic civilizations were not the ancient powers they claimed to be. They were young species who had built their societies on the ruins of humanity's forgotten empire. "Look at this," Gion said, displaying alien historical records on his screens. "The Veltari Empire claims to be 10,000 years old, but their oldest monuments use architectural techniques that humans developed 20,000 years ago. The collective says they invented faster-than-light travel," added his colleague, "but their engines are copies of human designs from 50,000 years ago. They've been living in our shadow this entire time," Dr. Park realized. "Everything they have, everything they've achieved is based on technology we abandoned long ago." The revelation spread through Earth's military and scientific communities like wildfire. Humanity was not fighting for survival against superior aliens. They were fighting to reclaim their birthright from species that had inherited their leftovers. In the Council's territories, panic was spreading. War Marshal Kethik sat in his rebuilt command center, reading reports from intelligence agents throughout Council space. The reports all said the same thing. Human technology was appearing everywhere. "Sir, we've detected quantum distortions near the Veltari homeworld. Human ships have been seen in Council space. How many ships? We don't know. They appear and disappear at will. Our sensors can't track them reliably. What are they doing? Unknown. They're not attacking. They seem to be watching." This was true. Human ghost ships were now operating throughout Council territory, gathering intelligence and making their presence known. The message was clear. Nowhere in the galaxy was beyond human reach. On the alien prison world of Torex Prime, something impossible was happening. The facility held political prisoners from dozens of species, beings who had opposed the Council's rule and been sentenced to life imprisonment. The prison guards were the fierce Krex warriors, creatures bred for violence and loyalty to the Council. The prison itself was built on an airless moon. 3 months after the failed invasion of Earth, Admiral Kim stood on the observation deck of humanity's greatest space station. The massive structure hung in orbit above the Council's former capital world, its gleaming metal and crystal surfaces reflecting the light of an alien sun. The space station had not been built by humans. It had been found by them, drifting in deep space exactly where the ancient star charts said it would be. Like so many other things, it was a remnant of humanity's forgotten golden age, waiting to be reclaimed. "Status report," Kim said to his aide. "All Council worlds have acknowledged Earth's authority," Lieutenant Park Min-jun replied. "The surrender ceremonies are complete. Resistance movements on 12 worlds have been peacefully resolved." Kim nodded, still watching the alien planet below. The world's great cities sparkled in the daylight, their inhabitants going about their daily lives much as they had before. That was important. This was not a conquest in the traditional sense. It was something else entirely. "And the former Council members? Awaiting your pleasure in the main conference chamber." Kim turned away from the window. It was time for the moment he had been both anticipating and dreading. The final meeting with the beings who had once threatened to destroy Earth. The conference chamber was vast, designed to accommodate dozens of different alien species. High Commander Zethrak sat at the table, his forearms folded across his chest in a gesture that might have been resignation or defiance. Around him sat the other former Council members, creatures who had once ruled thousands of worlds, now reduced to prisoners awaiting judgment. Admiral Kim entered with a small entourage. President Seo Hyunwoo, Earth's elected leader, walked beside him. Behind them came Fleet Admiral Yu Songmi, diplomat Hong Jina, and General An Kyung-soo. They were followed by representatives of the liberated species, beings who had been freed from Council rule by human intervention. "High Commander Zethrak," Kim said, taking his seat at the head of the table. "We meet again under different circumstances." Zethrak's voice was bitter. "You have won, Admiral. We acknowledge defeat. When does the execution begin?" Kim looked genuinely surprised. "Execution? Who said anything about execution? It is what we would have done to you. Yes, I know. You've destroyed 17 species who refused to submit. That's why we're here." President Seo leaned forward. He was an older man with kind eyes and silver hair, chosen by Earth's people for his wisdom and compassion. "High Commander, we didn't come here to destroy you. We came here to change the galaxy. Change it how?" Diplomat Hong opened a folder containing thick documents. As architect of humanity's new galactic constitution, She had spent months preparing for this moment. "The Galactic Council is dissolved," she announced. "In its place, we establish the Galactic Federation. Every species will have representation. Every world will have rights. There will be no more empires, no more domination of the weak by the strong." The aliens looked at each other in confusion. This was not what conquerors were supposed to say. Counselor Vrex, the insect-like being, spoke first. "You're offering us partnership?" "Yes, after we tried to destroy you. Especially because you tried to destroy us. You proved that the old system doesn't work. It creates fear, oppression, and endless cycles of violence." General An stood up and activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red zones marked areas of conflict and oppression under Council rule. Green zones showed worlds that had already joined the new Federation. Under Council rule, An explained, 12 species controlled everything. Thousands of others lived in fear. Now we offer something different. Freedom to grow, to explore, to become whatever each species chooses to be. Zethrak's forearms gestured dismissively. "And you expect us to believe you'll share power with those you've defeated?" Fleet Admiral Yu answered, "Power isn't something you share, it's something you earn. Any species that proves worthy of leadership will be welcome in Federation command positions. Even us? Even after what we've done? Especially you. Who better to help prevent future wars than those who understand the cost of the old ways?" The former council members sat in stunned silence. They had expected slavery, death, or at best exile to some remote world. Instead, they were being offered positions in a new government that would reshape the galaxy. Counselor Erix, the eldest alien, spoke with his ancient voice. "What guarantees do we have? How do we know humans won't become the very tyrants they claim to oppose?" President Seo smiled. "Because we've been tyrants before and we know how that story ends." He gestured to Professor Shin, who had accompanied the delegation from Earth. She activated her own holographic display, showing images from humanity's ancient past. Great cities spanning entire continents, fleets of ships stretching across star systems, worlds transformed into garden paradises. "This is what humanity built 200,000 years ago," Shin explained. "We ruled half the galaxy. We had power beyond imagination. And it nearly destroyed us. What happened? We became exactly what you became. Convinced of our own superiority. Certain that we knew what was best for everyone. We imposed our will on other species, crushed resistance, demanded submission." She paused. "It led to civil war, galactic devastation, and the near extinction of our own people. So why should we trust you not to repeat that mistake?" "Because we remember the consequences. Because we've learned that true strength comes not from ruling others, but from helping them rule themselves." The meeting continued for hours. Humanity's leaders presented their vision for the new galaxy. A federation where each species could develop according to its own nature, where exploration replaced conquest, where cooperation replaced domination. One by one, the former council members agreed to join the federation. Some did so eagerly, excited by the promise of freedom and growth. Others agreed reluctantly, having seen what happened to those who opposed humanity. A few, like Zethrak, agreed simply because they had run out of alternatives. "There is one condition," Admiral Kim said as the meeting drew to a close. "The Federation will have rules. No species may attack another without provocation. No government may oppress its own people. Any world that wants to leave the Federation may do so freely. And if someone breaks these rules," Kim's expression grew serious, "then they deal with us." The implication was clear. Humanity would serve as the Federation's enforcement arm, ensuring that the new order remained peaceful and just. 6 months later, the transformation of the galaxy was in full swing. On the former Veltari homeworld, engineer Yoon Hyo Jin supervised the construction of the first joint human-alien colony. The settlement was a marvel of cooperation, human quantum technology combined with Veltari architectural genius and hegemony environmental systems. "It's working better than we hoped," Yoon reported to Earth via quantum communication. "The different species are not just coexisting, they're learning from each other." Similar colonies were being established throughout Federation space. Humans shared their advanced technology freely, but always in partnership with local species who contributed their own expertise and knowledge. On the research station orbiting Proxima Centauri, Dr. Bae-Eun-ji worked alongside alien scientists to push the boundaries of quantum physics even further. Her team had already made breakthroughs that would have been impossible without the diverse perspectives that different species brought to complex problems. The collective's mathematical models combined with human quantum manipulation techniques are producing results we never imagined, she reported. We're on the verge of creating stable wormholes for instantaneous galactic travel. But perhaps the most important change was happening on a smaller scale. Throughout the galaxy, species that had been enemies for centuries were learning to work together. The rigid caste systems and honor codes that had kept civilizations static were giving way to human concepts like innovation, adaptation, and individual achievement. Captain Lee, now promoted to Commodore, commanded a mixed fleet of human and alien ships exploring the galaxy's outer rim. His flagship, the new Teguk, carried a crew representing 15 different species working in perfect harmony. We've discovered 17 new worlds suitable for colonization, he reported from the edge of known space. 3 have primitive life forms that we're studying carefully. We're following Federation protocols, no interference, just observation and protection. This was perhaps humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, the idea that advanced civilizations should protect developing species rather than exploit them. The old Council's practice of destroying or enslaving younger species was now forbidden throughout Federation space. In the depths of space, human ghost ships continued their patrols. These vessels, commanded by officers like Commander O, served as the Federation's guardians. They appeared wherever freedom was threatened, wherever justice was needed, wherever the weak required protection from the strong. Situation resolved on Kepler 442b. O reported after mediating a territorial dispute between 2 Federation members. Both species have agreed to shared colonization. No shots fired. This was the new way. Problems were solved through negotiation and compromise, with human forces serving as neutral mediators when needed. The galaxy was learning to resolve conflicts without war. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, Admiral Kim stood once again,